Oh man, or I should say, no, no, because that's pretty much anytime I watch anything CZW related, just no. And then I was sending Snapchats to people, even people who weren't wrestling fans. I was just sending them, just like, good luck watching this. Have fun. They reacted with, "Oh my God, is it real?" And I was like, "Well, you can't really fake it." So that was fun. But we're talking CZW Tournament of Death. It was a documentary that Vice did last year. No, we're not talking about Tournament of Death 16 because I kind of suck and I haven't watched the show yet because I knew Casey was going to mention that, and it's true. But we're talking the documentary that Vice put out on CZW's Tournament of Death last year, which is pretty cool because I got a chance to watch that one. So it was kind of cool going back and revisiting some of those moments. I really like Vice for this because they put out documentaries about wrestling all the time, like, and they make me so happy as a wrestling fan. Like I love them as a company just because they put out wrestling documentaries. But obviously the major companies and I mean companies in general, all the companies put out wrestling documentaries. But like it's cool to see like somebody like Vice who's like more of a network put out a wrestling documentary. Do you have any thoughts on I guess just Vice in general, like kind of taking a chance and putting out wrestling documentaries? Because I think that's where Grado's documentary was from too. Was Vice.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely like kind of going through their YouTube channel and stuff like that because they do have a bunch of good documentaries. And like not like typical documentaries you would think of. There was like a bare knuckle boxing documentary I was watching. There was like something about like a debt collector who like will break your face, and I was like, okay, I don't want to owe that money no money. I don't want to owe him no money because he'll break my face. But yeah, I definitely I liked watching this the second time because I watched it before. I think I actually watched this originally back around when it came out, and then I watched Tournament of Death 15 because this is what because I think originally we were talking about it, and then we watched TOD 15, and we cried. We did. We're man enough to admit it. We cried. There was moments, and oh god, he put the
I
thing in his
I
head.
cried watching this documentary.
Yeah.
They got the man. Ah, oh, we um, but I really like this documentary. It was a really good documentary. I love that the narrator was part of it. Like I just thought that was kind of cool, like especially with wrestling and like I feel like movies as well and like stuff like that. Like even like plays and stuff like that. Like I feel like he kind of has to be. Like it makes it feel a little bit more like there's a connection to it, and I really like that. I like hearing DJ's story. I thought that was DJ Hyde's story. That was interesting, kind of what he's been through and everything, but also and kind of how he got into it because I think that's one of the like big interview questions that I think every person who interviews a wrestler has, and like it was kind of cool to hear that kind of see him doing his thing. I thought it was crazy that how much he does. Like I think with somebody like that, how much he does and he wrestles too. Like it's not like he's just like there and he just does like the backstage stuff. Like he does it all. It was also interesting, like as the show was going on, to hear his wife's reactions as well. Because like I think you always think about how stuff like this impacts a family, just wrestling in general, but especially deathmatch wrestling is kind of crazy to see how it impacts like his wife who like God bless her soul is like freaking just committed. Like this man could break his leg and never walk again, and she'd be right there with him. Like that. That to me was just like amazing to see. I mean, or worse, no, with these matches. But
Yeah.
but um, but I also liked hearing kind of the different perspective from the wrestlers as well. Like they talked a lot about just how much pain tolerance that they have, or not even feeling some of the stuff. Lies. Like they talked about a lot of that stuff. Like how like eventually you just kind of get used to it. You don't. Like you get used to it and you like you do it because you love it, and like that's kind of what's interesting to me about CZW. I tell you, the first time I watched CZW, I said, "This is crazy. I'm never watching this again." But I think the thing about CZW, because I thought it was just outlandish and just ridiculous, and then I watched it, again, and I actually saw a real show where it was not just Tournament of Death. It was like, because I think I saw CZW via highlights. I think I saw one of those little like craziest moments and all like I saw one of those, and that's what kind of held my depiction of it. But after I watched like what was the show? I can't remember right offhand, but it was one of their just normal shows where they actually had wrestling on it too. Like that was interesting to me. Like that, like I think that's what really turned me to watching CZW. Like I enjoy CZW, and the weird thing about CZW is it's terribly graphic and you cry a lot, but you can't stop watching it. Like you can't turn it off, which I think is the interesting part. Like you can shield your eyes, but you're always like, like you're always kind of like peeking through, but yeah, I don't know. I like this documentary though. I like how they kind of talked about the different weapons they use and how DJ had mentioned this, and I think some of the wrestlers have mentioned this, and the narrator mentioned this. Kind of how like the fans, even though the fans like it seems like they've seen everything. They always want more. He said one fan brought a gun to the show, and another fan brought like a freaking like freshly sharpened sword to the show, which I'm not necessarily surprised about. I also like them kind of setting up the show. I thought that was pretty cool. It was just a good documentary. Just kind of like if you don't know anything about, well, I think it does kind of depict CZW too much as death match wrestling because it's not all death match wrestling. If anyone has actually watched an actual show, it depicts it as the stereotype that CZW is, but CZW is ridiculous and I love it. Like I don't know. Like, I thought it was interesting too at the beginning when they were talking about how like different guys who like went to WWE or got noticed by WWE through CZW. You mentioned Dean Ambrose, which is pretty cool. But yeah, like the thing about CZW, like it's crazy, but like it's so hard not to watch it. It's crazy. But Casey, thoughts on the documentary? Did you cry? I mean, that was a full-on light tubes match out here, so I know you cried at least once.
You just went through like the whole show thing, and now I gotta move all the points and stuff. But no, I definitely liked it. Like I said, I liked that. How the interviewer, the narrator, whatever, kind of was just going around talking to DJ Hyde, all the other wrestlers and stuff like that, and I like that we kind of got a backstage glimpse at CZW, which is surprisingly like it's still basically like a literally a promotion run out of DJ Hyde's grandma's house, like, which I would have thought would have been a little bit like they would have like an actual office or something by now. Because
what's ironic about CZW too? It's because I think it's like the modern day ECW, and like it still like creeps to that niche that like some wrestling fans really like, and it's so similar. Like it's so similar as far as like the backstage aspects of it, like being ran out of a basement and all that. Like it's similar.
Yeah, but like I would think by now, because CCW has been out for at this point, I think DJ Hyde said that he bought that John Zandig, the original owner, had it for 10 years, and then he bought it from him after that, and that had to have been a couple years before this documentary, so it's got to be at least 12 to 15 years old, and I would have thought at least by now, you would have had like...
It opened as soon as ECW closed, pretty much.
Yeah. So like that just kind of surprised me that it was still kind of that small, but at the same time, it's a huge company, which is kind of weird. Like I think every wrestling fan at least has heard of CZW. Kind of like ECW. If you didn't watch ECW back in the '90s, you at least heard about it. Um, but I definitely liked it. I like kind of seeing the different weapons and things like that, and like they actually showed like up close, like these are legit. These are like actual, steel chairs and
Mm-hmm.
barbed wire and stuff like that. Because I think a lot.
Two, I think anybody who's not a wrestling fan or like a wrestling hater should watch this documentary.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, it just like, and I think it kind of like you still may not understand why these guys put their bodies through what they put themselves through or why the fans love it so much. But I think if you watch this, it kind of gives you a new appreciation for it. Even if you don't fully understand the death match, why would these guys do it? Whether it's they just sickeningly love the punishment or they need to pay their bills, it's um, different guys do it for different reasons. And kind of like DJ said, that DJ, not DJ Hyde, DJ Field. It's so confusing.
I think our fans like me more than CZW's fans like DJ Hyde.
Yeah,
Like they can't stand that man.
it's true. That's true. But yeah, like it isn't all deathmatch, wrestling, but I think that's obviously that's what they were built on. But I do like that, there are actually a lot of guys who came through CZW, whether they were trained at the CZW school or just wrestled in CZW. There's, I mean, just a handful right from WWE, right on, the main roster or in NXT right now, who, went through CZW, which a lot of people, a lot of the mainstream fans, think, oh, that's just deathmatch wrestling. It's not legit. Well, Dean Ambrose went through it. I'm pretty sure Seth Rollins at one point had a match or two in, CZW. A lot of these indie darlings that people love at least had just a normal match in CZW, if not a death match in CZW. So it's like, you know, DJ crying over there. He crying. But yeah, I love this documentary. I kind of they were talking about possibly doing another one this year. I don't know if they did or not. But I would love to see another documentary, with CZW, whether it's another Tournament of Death or a Cage of Death documentary or something like that. Just kind of just because, like we've said, we kind of like me and DJ both like documentaries where you kind of can see, how these shows are made, backstage stuff, things like that. It's just interesting to me anyway. But
yeah, well, I don't know, man. I liked it though. I did. Some of the stuff, man. God. Oh, like when he took that. I don't know what they even call it. Like I think it's interesting too, like watching them kind of paramedics and like or sometimes just wrestlers, just working on other wrestlers after these matches. Like because some of the stuff they do is like ridiculous, and it's kind of like, how do you like live after that? Like when the guy had the little doohickey stuck in his head, and I remember seeing that, and I was like, no, like it was. I was like, no, but I don't know. I'm interested. Like I always get interested in stuff like that, especially with like these hardcore matches, kind of, or well, it's a little bit more than hardcore death matches. Like it's always interesting to see kind of after the match what the effects are. But I don't know.
yeah.
I liked it though. I liked the documentary. It was good.
See, I want to see like a couple hours after the match because, like, I mean, I understand what they were saying when they said, basically when you're in the match, you have the adrenaline going, so you're gonna feel stuff, but you're not gonna feel it as much as with all the adrenaline. And then after the match, you still have that high. I mean, even Masada said, it's not till a couple hours later that the real pain starts to kind of kick in. And we didn't see that, so they need to do a documentary like 2 hours after the show when they're like, oh God, why did I do this? Why? Why, mama? I should have stayed in college. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a good documentary though. I definitely liked it. I'm still working on Tournament of Death 16. I tried to watch it today. I was at the gym because the guy I was working with wanted to go to the gym. So I went to the gym and I was on the.
Watch it. It's not.
I think it was like I was hoping everybody saw it. It was like, oh God, no. But I went to the gym and I had it up. I had it right there. But then like he just kept going from thing to thing to thing, so it was hard for me to like sit down and watch it. Plus, it kept like I started it and then I had to cut it off for a second, and then I had to start it back, and it wasn't working, so I had to refresh it. Then I had to try to get it to move back up to the spot it was. So I clicked on it, and it would just load. It was just loading, like that was it. So the system cheated me. They did, but yeah, I like this documentary though. It's good. It's good. We will be back for 205 Live tomorrow, and NXT as well on Wednesday. Then Thursday we'll have Impact, the Tournament of Death 16. Yeah, it might happen. It's possible. We're just gonna talk about it and never happen. We'll be talking about it like the day before Tournament of Death 17. We're like, yeah, that Tournament of Death 16. It might happen. But
half of the WrestleMania reviews we were supposed to do.
yeah, it'd be like that. It's gonna happen about as much as Justin shows up.
Okay. Also, we got some.
We'll see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoyed. Give your thoughts on CZW. Give your thoughts on the documentary if you've seen it. Tell us on Twitter at ICW_podcast right now. Do it right.
I'd be trying to promote, and you just interrupt me with the.
You trying to what?
I was trying to promote the 6-pack coming back, and then you just jumped in.
You didn't say nothing. You said no words. You sat there like this. You was like, there. I'm laying on my little turtle blanket thingy, my turtle pillow thing.
You just mad. You ain't got one. But yeah, we got a 6-pack series coming up, going through the generations of the WWE. With our favorite wrestlers and some we ain't like that much. So we got a new format to the 6-pack too. We shaking it up on you. We shake it. Also, I'm gonna enter a death match. I told Amy that. She ain't reply. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get in the death match. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be a man. I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna do it.
So I am officially on search for a new co-host. I need, please send your please send your applications to the podcast email ICW_podcast@gmail.com. Don't send anything to that. That's not real. I just made that up. So don't send anything to that. I made that up. But
I think that
send me on Facebook.
Our email for the Twitter, but we don't check it, so I don't understand there's nothing there.
Send us to it on the Twitter. We be real professional on the Twitter.
Yeah, we super. We tweet sometimes.
But anyway, we will see you guys next time. We do hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to hit the subscribe button for us. Follow us at ICW_podcast. Talk to us about CZW. Talk to us about Tournament of Death 15. Talk to us about Tournament of Death 16. We'll talk to Casey. Don't talk to me. And
it was a good show. It was a good show.
We'll see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoyed. This was your CZW Tournament of Death 15 documentary review on the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast. That's a lot of words to say. The only podcast that is always.
When?
Always. or 16. Then it's the classic. Where's the stop button at?